Hi, I'm Divine Harmony with a Cosmic Insight for the week of February 24th through March 2nd. This week has a lot of astrology, so stay with me. On Monday, Venus in Capricorn sextiles Saturn, bringing a stability and a groundedness to relationships, finances, and our values, helping us to see what is and what isn't, and what we need to do to fix things or to ground them down and commit to them further. On Tuesday, Pluto sextiles Chiron, the wounded healer, for the fifth and final time. These two first began this dance in spring of 2012, and there have been major opportunities in these last years for deep, cathartic transformation and healing. With this last aspect happening now, I highly recommend doing whatever it is you need to do for yourself in terms of reflection, introspection, seeing where the healing needs to happen, and then going for it. On the same day, retrograde Jupiter squares Uranus, completing Jupiter's trigger of the Uranus-Pluto square that began on January 31st. Jupiter is actually triggering the Uranus-Pluto square 3 different times in a period of 9 months. And so we're in this 9-month portal that began in August, September of last year and goes until April of this year, where the planet of expansion, abundance, but also excess is triggering the breakdown, breakthrough duo. Opportunities for dramatic and transformational change are present right now, but also anything that's out of alignment, not in integrity, no longer working, can be kind of turning upside down. Jupiter-Uranus is electric and innovative, but it's also sudden, and so watching out for accidents, for excess, for doing things impulsively because there'll be consequences later is highly recommended. On Friday, Mercury stations direct after his 3-week inward-downward journey. He stations direct in Aquarius, and so Mercury direct, first of all, opens up the mind and the mental energy. We do need to be aware that this day, because Mercury's stationing, is one of the days where it tends to be more issues with technology, transportation, communication, etc. With Mercury in Aquarius, our visions and our ideas about the future are now opening back up. Mercury retrograde was a time of thinking about what those visions were, but then now as Mercury stations direct and moves forward, we can do something with them and bring them out into the world and act upon them. The Sun also trines Jupiter today, which is a very expansive energy of opportunity, growth, something big coming in that's very supportive. With both bodies in water, we are supported particularly when it comes to emotions and the feminine energy. And so taking advantage of this positive energy, maybe sharing our feelings with others, or just, giving thanks for what we have that we're grateful for in our life, is definitely the best use of Sun trine Jupiter. Saturday, we have a new moon in Pisces at 12 a.m. The new moon is the first minute of the new day. New moons are new cycles commencing, and in Pisces, this is about the spiritual, the creative, our dreams, and how to bring them into manifestation. This new moon harmoniously aspects that T-square between Jupiter, Uranus, and Pluto. And so that very intense energy between the T-square is connecting sweetly to the new moon, essentially bringing us opportunities for change, for transformation, for growth, for seeing the shadow and dealing with it and addressing it. Interestingly, on the same day as the new moon, Mars stations retrograde. Mars is the warrior, the will, the drive, and he typically wants to be direct in motion, moving forward. When he goes retrograde, he's not too happy. It's essentially not his most easy energy to deal with. To add to this, Mars is in Libra, the sign of his opposite. Libra is the sign of Venus. Mars is the sign of Aries. And so Mars in Libra on the positive side is focused on partnership and balance and relationship, but the shadow side is he has a hard time asserting himself, and he can actually even be passive-aggressive or vacillate and have a hard time making decisions. Mars retrograde is a time of rethinking, reviewing, and revising our relationships and how we deal with them. Also, our anger, particularly if it's passive-aggressive anger that's being stuffed, looking at that is recommended for the coming months ahead. Today with Mars retrograde, there is also the energy of our will and drive kind of being depressed. And so if you feel low energy, low vitality, you just want to sleep, do it. Mars will pick up speed moving backwards and you'll get your energy back. And last but not least, for this very busy week, Saturn stations retrograde on Sunday, and so not only do we have Mars, the will and the drive, stationing retrograde, we've got Saturn doing it. Between these two, they're definitely likely to feel this slow-moving energy, almost like you're walking through like thick mud. And if that is the case, stop and take a break, maybe meditate, or take a day off from doing your work. It's essentially trying to go up a hill that you're not going to get up if you keep going for it. You're just going to exasperate yourself. With Saturn stationary, it's very much recommended addressing the foundation of things and looking at what's coming up. If you've got roadblocks that are popping up for you, look at why. Don't try and just smash through them, because that will be taking your energy and forcing it. That's not what Saturn's about. And then last but not least, Venus squares retrograde Mars. Venus and Mars are the divine lovers, and typically when they make an aspect, it's great for creativity and self-expression and romance and relationship, but when they're in a square aspect, they're kind of going head to head. It's almost like they have different needs and desires, and they're having a hard time finding middle ground. Venus is in Capricorn, and she values responsibility, hard work, discipline, whereas Mars is in Libra, and he values relationship and partnership and connection and balance. With these two head-to-head, it can express itself in relationships where one person is wanting connection and another person is wanting to do work, or where one person is wanting to talk about emotions and the other is kind of closing up. But it's also about an inner focus. It's all about how we balance our own inner masculine and feminine. And so opportunities to see where we need to do further work on that can be present this week. Yours in the stars.